out my head. Is it really morning for you? You must be over the other side of the world. All right, it's the lunch break of day 7, Karen Reid, and I'm just hopping on really quickly, just to give just a big shout out to Jen McCabe, a sign of appreciation about how good of a liar Jen McCabe is, because she sat there, and I'll do a proper review of her testimony tomorrow when I do my full trial recap. But I just want to, I've been sitting here laughing. I have. You're in Canada. Oh, is it still morning for you over there? Wow. Okay. It's 20 past 6 in the evening here for me. That's kind of weird. So you must be ways over in the West. Anyhow, just been sitting here laughing at Jen McCabe wrapping herself in knots over something that is very easy to answer. And why is there this big palaver over the thing that just happened just before the lunch break? Let's play it. The reason why, spoiler alert, the reason why Jen McCabe is struggling to answer this is because it breaks the state's timeline, or the Commonwealth's timeline. So as we discussed this morning, if you watch my trial recap from this morning, I'm prepared to accept the testimony from the phone expert. I'm prepared to accept that they arrived at 34 Fairview at 12:24. Okay, prepared to accept that. However, the text from Ryan Nagel breaks that. And you'll know this if you watched the first trial. But not everybody who is watching this trial watched the first trial. So you've still got a lot to come. You've still got a lot of revelations to come. So let me just play you this, just for a couple of minutes. Just bear with me. Just humour me. Just for a couple of minutes here. Oh, and why earlier on in this morning was there? Why was there like a nearly an hour break? Like they did a sidebar, and then apparently they cleared the entire court apart from the families. And there was like all this speculation on Twitter about, oh, they're going to declare a mistrial or the case is going to be dismissed. And then it just carried on as if nothing had happened. So I don't know what all that's about. But anyway, humour me. Listen to this. So they're on yet another sidebar because whiny Hank Brennan is struggling with Mr. Jackson being too good at his job. Struggling a little bit, so keeps objecting to stuff. That's what he keeps doing.
Yes. Yes.
All right, it's going to show her a piece of paper to refresh her recollection.
Is the page available
I'm
before
sorry,
this?
just a yes or no, does that refresh your recollection about anything that we've been discussing?
It's just what we've discussed. It doesn't really refresh.
So it does.
Okay, so a paper with text messages on doesn't refresh her recollection because it was Jen McCabe who asked Julie Nagel for the text that Ryan Nagel sent her. Julie Nagel was inside the house. This is all for those people who didn't watch the first trial. Julie Nagel was inside the house. She asked for a lift from her brother, Ryan Nagel. When Ryan Nagel turned up at 34 Fairview to pick her up, Julie Nagel didn't want to go. She decided to stay behind, and Jen McCabe gave her a lift home. like an hour or two later. But Ryan Nagel texted Julie to say that he was outside. So it's the time that Ryan Nagel sent that text to say that he was here, that he was outside. Who is this, Caitlin? This is Jen McCabe. She's lied her way through this entire testimony.
Does not refresh her memory. Next question.
I don't think that's what she said.
Is that's what you?
Yes, that's what I said.
That was her answer.
That does not refresh your recollection.
Objection.
That was her answer. Next question, Mr. Jackson.
May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you.
Take a look at the bottom of that page and tell me if that refreshes your recollection about anything we were just discussing.
It's a very simple question. A very simple question. The question is, do you remember asking Julie Nagel for the text message that Ryan sent? Jen McCabe took it upon herself to do her own little investigation and asked Julie Nagel for the text message that Ryan sent when he was outside. So Jen McCabe knew all about the text message that Ryan Nagel sent, and she asked Julie, and now she doesn't seem to remember very much about it. So she's having her recollection refreshed. So she's still rather shaky, reading pages of text messages. She's still rather shaky on this memory. Would I want the prosecutor's job or the defence's job? I wouldn't want either of their jobs. I wouldn't want to be an attorney at all. She is lying. She's completely lying. She lied in the previous trial. She's lying now.
May I?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. McCabe, having seen these...
Barbara, sit down.
About what we were just discussing concerning...
Barbara, sit down. Why don't you look at the evidence, Barbara, and then come back if you want.
that conversation?
Regarding me asking Julie Nagel for the time?
Correct.
Yes, it does.
Okay. And what time did that was attendant to a screenshot that you asked for, correct?
All right, spoiler alert. The time was 12:23. Ryan Nagel was outside at 12:23. The phone expert, Mr. Whiffen, from yesterday, said that they arrived at 12:24, that Karen Reid arrived outside of 34 Fairview at 12:24. But Ryan Nagel was outside at 12:23. And according to Jen McCabe's own testimony and the testimony of Ryan Nagel, Karen Reid was already outside when he arrived. So Karen Reid had to have arrived before 12:23. Can you see where this line of questioning is very problematic for the prosecution's theory?
Yes.
And that time was what?
Objection.
Do you remember the time?
No, you can't object to, do you remember what time that was? Now listen to this. The time is 12:23. Hank Brennan doesn't want her to say 12:23. Objects. She struggles with this question.
Can I look at the paper? I was reading everything. I didn't
So
look at the
the
exact
question is
time.
when
Can I look at the paper again? She's just spent, like, I don't know how much time looking at the paper. And she went, oh, I was reading everything. I didn't look at the time. Okay, you know the time, 12:23.
do you remember the
Oh, do I remember it? I don't remember the exact time, but I can read it off the paper. That's different than a memory.
That's different. Next question.
And why is Judge Canoni going along with this?
So this does not reflect your recollection as to the time that was reflected on that screenshot.
I can read the time, but in my memory,
That's not my question. I have to do it this way. Ms.
Okay,
McCabe.
sorry.
Does it refresh your recollection as you sit here, having read this, as to the time that was reflected on that screenshot?
I don't, sitting here today, the only reason I know there's a time is because of what's on that paper.
But you did ask for
Because she's been coached. She's been coached not to say the time. She's been coached to say, I don't remember, I don't recall. And if she just keeps saying, I don't remember, I don't recall, I don't have that memory, then they have to move along. It's a very simple question. And yes, she absolutely does know the answer.
a screenshot from Ms. Nagel, correct?
Yes, I
And that-
did.
And that screenshot said something to the effect of outside. Is that right?
What's on?
Just that question. The screenshot said something about outside.
Is that right?
I believe it said here, yes.
Or maybe it's
Yeah,
here.
something
And
similar.
it was a screenshot from Ryan Nagel to Julie Nagel indicating that he had arrived.
Can you repeat the question?
Oh my God. Can you repeat the question? I've been cackling away to this. She spent so long reading a text message that said one word, here. And now she doesn't understand the question. Dear God.
Sure, it was a screenshot of a text message from Ryan Nagel to Julie Nagel saying, I've arrived. In other
Yes.
words, I've arrived at 34 Fairview.
Yes, it was.
Because he was intending to give her a ride home, which she had asked for. Is that right?
Objection.
Sustained.
Why? Why? Why is that an objection? And why did the judge sustain that?
You did see Julie Nagel go outside
I suppose that would have been considered testimony. So, okay, that's fine. I understand the objection there.
and approach the vehicle, correct?
I never saw her go near the vehicle. I saw her go outside.
Got it. Did she ultimately come back indoors?
Yes.
Did she come back in with anybody else?
No.
About what time would you estimate that to have been in the course of that evening?
When she came back inside,
When she walked out and then came back inside?
soon after she went out, she talked to her brother. She came back inside.
And about what time of day was that? If you know.
I mean, this was all happening while we were at my sister's house.
Right. Was it
Yeah, it was. It was all happening at your sister's house. Dear God.
12:15, 12:30, 12:45, 1 o'clock?
Well, according to that paper, it would have had to
That's
been.
not what I'm
Not
asking.
not according to.
Do you have an independent recollection of about, if not down to the minute, about what time that was?
I could say I'd have to be. I wasn't looking at my watch that night, so it's very hard for me to give a time.
And that's why she asked Julie Nagel for the text message that Ryan Nagel had sent her. That's why. That's why she wanted that text message. She didn't know that she was going to end up having her like text messages read by the defense. She didn't know that at the time when she did this little private investigation. And the time that Ryan Nagel was outside was 12:23. I don't know why she's being so obstructive, because it's going to come out anyway. Because Ryan Nagel can testify, Julie Nagel can testify to the time of that text message being 12:23.
Just off of my memory. I know what I've seen, but
Okay.
it's hard.
You did see both Ryan Nagel's truck and Miss Reed's SUV in front of the house at the same time, correct?
I saw his lights in my peripheral vision on the
Right.
left.
But the lights are attached to what?
The car, but it wasn't out front. Miss Reed's vehicle was out front.
Right. When I say in front of 34 Fairview, we're going to talk about the spacing in just a second. I just meant out in front of the house.
Yes, over to the side, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're indicating that, and I want to be clear about this,
Mhm.
as you're looking out that storm door window,
Mhm.
going from right to left, it was Miss Reed's vehicle, correct?
Yes.
then Higgins's Jeep. Is that right?
His Jeep was in front of the mailbox.
Then behind that, was there a space? And then Mr. Nagel's truck, or was the truck right behind the Jeep?
That's what I can't tell you. I just remember seeing lights. I didn't look over and pay much attention to it. I was just quickly looking at the Miss Reed's car, and then I went back and sat down.
Do you recall testifying at a prior hearing that it was, your perception was Miss Reed's car, her SUV, the Jeep, a space, and then Mr. Nagel's truck from right to left?
I remember Mr. Nagel's truck over to the left in my peripheral vision.
All right, so let's get the map up from right to left as the house. Okay. And I know I'm only going to give you another like 2 minutes because they're going to be back from lunch soon. My maps aren't loading for some reason. Oh, here we go. I'm having a real problem with my internet today. Okay. All right. So here's 34 Fairview. If she's looking out of the house, all right, onto the road, from right to left, we've got Karen Reed's SUV. We've got Brian Higgins's Jeep. And then Ryan Nagel pulls up behind the Jeep. That's what Jen McCabe can see from the house. So at 12:23, when Ryan Nagel rocks up and says to Juno Nagel by text, here, already outside was Karen Reed's SUV, Brian Higgins's truck, and then Ryan Nagel rocks up. So Higgins and Karen Reed were already there. Guess who no one saw? Guess who Ryan Nagel didn't see? Because he had to. When he drove away, he pulled past Karen Reed. He'll testify to this. Testified to this in the first trial. He pulled out and went past Karen Reed and saw Karen Reed in the SUV on her own. Ryan Nagel didn't see John O'Keefe dying on the lawn. Julie Nagel went out, walked down the drive, and this is only 50 feet long, and John O'Keefe would be right here, not covered in snow, because it's already just happened, right? Julie Nagel went out, and guess what? She didn't see John O'Keefe on the lawn. No, she went out, spoke to her brother, said it's okay. You know, Jen's going to give me a lift home, and she went back in. So what, 50 feet down the driveway, 50 feet back. John O'Keefe would have been right there if Karen Reed had hit him, but no. And where's John? Because he's not on the lawn, but he's also not in Karen's SUV because Ryan Nagel pulls past him. Oh, if you didn't watch the first trial, you have a lot to learn. You have a lot to learn. So don't start saying Karen Reed's guilty, because you will learn that all of these witnesses are lying. Or the ones that are telling the truth, the ones that, you know, have no vested interest in keeping this lie going, don't see what the Commonwealth needs them to see. And you'll see that the phone data doesn't match with some other testimony, such as this, because the phone data would need Karen Reed and John O'Keefe to turn up at 12:24. All right, as we talked about it this morning, and I'm prepared to accept that. I'm prepared to accept 12:24. However, we have other evidence to suggest that 12:24 time might be a couple of minutes off. Because Karen Reed was already outside at 12:23. You'll also learn a bunch of other stuff as well about John O'Keefe's injuries. You'll also learn about Chloe, the German Shepherd. Chloe, the German Shepherd, has been brought up today by Jen McCabe, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. So I'm going to let you go for now. Just wanted to come on and share my incredulousness about how this woman is being allowed to lie. Hank Brennan's covering up for her by objecting to everything he can. And Bev Canoni, well, Bev Canoni, what can you say about her? So thank you for joining me to this little pop-up live stream. And I'll see you tomorrow for a full review of Jen McCabe's testimony. Bye, guys.